good. How are you? Back for a minute?
Till Tuesday. Then we're going for
2 minutes. Give it a try. That's great. That's how we like it.
That's beautiful. I'll go next year. I'll get going.
This is cooking and baking.
Hey,
There's the vineyard at night.
I wasn't sure if I needed to come on.
He's been there. He lives in his great grandmother's house. It's been part of the family for
Hey, how are you? Good to see you. I'm Landon. Thanks for coming tonight.
Yeah, no problem.
Was it a pain in the ass?
Yeah, a little bit.
That's all right. We'll let you go quickly. All right, guys, let's get started. All right, we ready to start? Bill. Hey, Bill. Find a chair. You. All right, let's get started. So I'm Landon with the Sugar House Community Council. Thanks for coming tonight. Thank you. Thank you. So a couple things. So just a heads up, we have Nick Norris, the Salt Lake City Planning Director here tonight. He's here to talk about the process of this proposed hotel. That's what we're talking about tonight. We are going to have a larger meeting with the architect, the builder, the developer, the owner, I believe, at Highland High School, August 18th, 6 p.m. There you can have your complaints. Yeah, I did it. That's our principal at Highland right there. And then you can also send your comments to Judy Short at judy.short@gmail.com. And then those will go off to the Planning Commission, City Council, Sarah Young's office. We'll go from there. Okay. So again, don't be angry tonight. The 4th annual Bonnie Ball event is at the Neighborhood Hive, August 23rd, 11 to 3, if anybody wants to come by. All right, we're gonna go with the fire department.
Hello.
Yay.
My name's Sam Ashman, paramedic firefighter at Station 3. Got the crew here. We're going to go over the chief safety message, just reiterating safety for the kids going back to school. So summer's already come and gone. So we're going to share this with your family and kids or neighbors, whoever it may be. So walking to and from school, stick to sidewalks when you can. If there aren't any, walk facing towards traffic. It's more, we got to be like defensive walking now. So heads up, phones down, no texting, scrolling, or earbuds while walking. Stop somewhere safe if you need to check your phone. So just make us more aware, use more of our senses, but there's chaotic drivers everywhere. So make eye contact with drivers before crossing the street, even in a crosswalk. Don't assume that they see you. So make sure that they make contact and be careful as they cross the road. Biking, scootering, or skating, gear up. Helmets are a must. Pads and reflective gear help, and lights help too, especially in the morning and evening light. Again, no headphones so you can hear what's happening around you, and then stop and walk your bike or scooter across the road or the crosswalks. Then driving in school zones, eyes on the road, texting or fiddling with the music can wait. Watch for kids on the sidewalks and crosswalks or even darting between cars. Then all kids are excited to see everybody. And so, I mean, school zones are maybe 100 feet, 100 yards. Just take your time. Make sure that you're seeing and eyeing everybody that could be coming across. And then always slow down school zones. Speed limits are there for a reason. Okay, and then your kids while at school, have an emergency plan. Talk about what to do and who to contact in different situations. Most schools will go over a lot of these and do different drills. But as these drills happen, reiterate with your kids, your loved ones, whoever may be, what the plan was for that day if they did go over a drill. I know schools do notify when there is a drill. So just make sure that they have a plan. Make sure your child has important numbers saved or written down in their backpack. Set safe, consistent pickup or drop-off spots. Use a family code word. Only trusted adults know. It's just a safety layer. Maybe have a mini first aid kit that they can carry and how to use it. Then again, ask your school about emergency drills, and then talk through them at home. This can help your child feel more engaged and confident if those events may happen. And then and again, don't forget to connect with other parents and having that network with other folks in the school that you might be able to rely on. So, yeah, whether your child is headed into kindergarten, gearing up for college, these small habits can make a big difference. Your Salt Lake City Fire Department is here to help make your family stay safe and feel confident all school year long. You got this, and we've got your back. I'm gonna give this to him.
Hey, good evening, everybody. My name's Jeff. I'm just going to go over some statistics, run numbers, things that Station 3 and the city as a whole has gone through. Typically, July is a little bit busier month for us with obviously the 4th and the 24th and the lack of care people use their fireworks in. But for the month of July, Medic Engine 3, Station 3 ran 154 calls total, 102 being medical and 52 being fire calls. For the year, we just reached over 1,000 calls out of Station 3. Some changes with Station 3. We used to have a little suburban type squad vehicle that ran out of there. That has been relocated towards Station 2 by West High. The reason before that is we are anticipating, and it is in the fire department's future plan within a year, to get a truck at Station 3. So it will be a dual company house, truck and engine. So in order to make that work, they moved our little squad closer to West High Station 2 area. We have 10 new recruits starting recruit class this month. So that's good. We have had a couple retirements, but we're picking up 10 new recruits. They start in August. They'll go through their 12-week training, and then they will get out into the fleet and start running 911 calls with us. And all of the stuff that Sam went over, if you guys go to Salt Lake City or slcfire.com, you can scroll down to the bottom and you can sign up for these monthly letters. They'll email them out to you. There's also lots of resources there if you want to get in and look at like the wildland urban interface stuff, have an assessment of your home, any questions, concerns. There's links all over that website to reach out to anybody in the fire department. I'll take any questions if anybody has any right now, if I can answer them. If not, I may defer to my captain, but I'll try and answer what I can if anyone has any questions for the fire department. So the question was, in the recruit class coming up, is there a few women in the class? I don't know. Typically, we leave that to our training department. We typically get a few female through the academy. They kind of keep us, the on-duty crews, away from them because it is such a rigorous. It's a rigorous training they go through, and we pull 3 or 4 people from the fire department to go help teach those classes, and they have a very strict regiment, so they don't need us in there interfering with them or distracting them either way. So we leave them up to train. We get an introduction when it gets closer to graduation. They send out headshots and bios of all of them saying, hey, they're coming out. This is where they're going to be assigned once they get out of the recruit academy. So I don't know if there is or not. It wouldn't surprise me though. Anything else? Yes, ma'am. Oh, no. Okay, thank you for your time. I'll turn it back over. Thanks for having us.
All right, Mike. We're just to do a quick treasurer report.
Thank you. Thank you to the first responders. Appreciate it. Thank you for your service. Okay, I don't have much tonight. I'm going to be brief. I just jumped online, checked the balances before I came out here, so I could bring you guys all up to speed. U.S. bank account balance sits at $6,894.61. Ongoing expenses, we got some costs for maintaining the website and for the radio project and that sort of stuff. And then in our PayPal, we're sitting at $1,004.07. So thank you everyone for your generous donations. When I was looking through all this, I was just kind of looking at some of our other expenses, and I realized like to maintain our website, it cost us, we pay for it 6 months at a time. It was, $780. It seems like these things kind of just go up a little bit each time. So anyway, that's a big expense, but I think the website provides a big service to the community, hopefully everybody in the room. So if that's something that's important and you're able to support us, any donations are great, either through the PayPal or you can write a check to Sugar House Community Council. We can put it in our U.S. bank account if you want to try to minimize the fees. So any questions? That's right. Nonprofit.
We're nonprofit.
All volunteer nonprofit.
And Mike's a first responder too. Jimmy, come on up. Yeah, you. So we're going to introduce you to the new owners of Fiddlers. He didn't know he was talking.
Do I need a step stool here? Okay. Is the light good? Hi, I've met a lot of people in the room. My wife, Jordana, she's hiding in the back. We have recently opened Fiddlers. We've been open 3 months. Yeah, 3 months. Time flies. We also recently opened the pizza place in the front of the building. So where you remember Salt Lake Pizza and Pasta is now Sugar House Pizza. It's a little bit different environment. It's just a quick service pizza place, pizza by the slice, cheap cold beer. Yes, all the drains work. Anybody have any questions for us? Yes.
So everybody got your beautiful mural.
We do have a beautiful mural in the front of the building. Well, east side on the front. Kind of showcases what Sugar House and Salt Lake have to offer. We have the state flower. There's a honeybee on there. There's sugar beets. There's an old sugar beet factory worker, and that transitions into a younger guy jamming to music and eating pizza. And it's really cool. The bad graffiti off of the building, I think it really exemplifies what Sugar House has to offer as well.
And who's the artist?
It's Guy Skocky. You can see it's on the very bottom right of the mural at the wording. Anybody else? Yes.
You know who one of your biggest factors are? It's the competition across the street.
Chad Hopkin is a pretty great dude. Yeah, pretty great dude.
Somewhere else, you can bring us like flags right across the street.
And we do as well. We're supporters of Sugar House, the whole neighborhood. Everybody needs to thrive for all of us to grow and do better. So who's next?
Yeah, you better.
Yeah.
Oh, I just want to thank you guys for opening Fiddlers again.
Yeah.
and keeping it just as great as it was.
You bet. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It would have been a huge scar on the neighborhood if it closed. So we're happy to be the ones that can do that as well.
Hi. Is it 21 and over?
Yes.
Or
Fiddlers
place-
is a bar. The pizza place is all ages.
pizza's all ages?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and the hours for the pizza place right now are just Thursday through Saturday, 11:30 to 9:30, until we kind of move into the fall when kids are back in school and college has started, etc. Anybody else? Great. Well, we hope to see you guys in at some point in the near future.
All right, let's do Sarah.
All right. I'm lucky to stand in for Sally, who is seeing Rick Springfield tonight at Red Butte. And we just had a great update with a bunch of folks. So for the Post Parks Open Space Trails Committee, good news, the Allen Water Line has a future. They're planning an install, I believe, in the fall. They have design and permitting complete, and they'll be starting construction. So that is going forward. Yeah, great news. And then they had park crews cleaning the brush out and weeds and things like that. I guess we're getting pretty bad, so they worked on that. And then they had a successful masonry workshop. You might have seen pictures. They brought in folks to do a workshop, did a lot of repair, and trained some folks from the city. So excellent news on Allen Park. Go Allen Park. All right, second, for Fairmont Park, good news as well. We have news that the Go Bond plans are moving forward. So they're going to have 2 to 3 options. I think Sarah put in her newsletter available by fall that we'll be able to give feedback on. Those will include the basketball court, bathroom updates, the futsal updates, and the art. I think you asked, Larry. Those are all included. So feedback will be taken around those areas. So watch for those. We'll keep that you updated on that. Breaking ground, the astute question from our District 7 council person. 2027, we'd actually see work done. So it's coming. It'll give something to look forward to. Let's see. Brenda Koga, one of our awesome champions, is going to get the pickleball nets repaired there. So that was great. Park's able to do that. We're going to plan rose garden trimming this fall. And on September 27th, we'll do more trees with Tree Utah. It's a Saturday. It'll be cooler. So 1 o'clock, September 27th, come out and help us plant trees at Fairmont. Any questions? Okay, who's a friend of Fairmont? Okay, anybody want a sticker? We have stickers for Friends of Fairmont.
Great, thank you. All right, Nick, you ready? Okay, so we have the Salt Lake City Planning Director. This is Nick Norris. Again, we're just here to talk about the process, where we're at with that parcel, right, Nick? And we'll kind of go from there.
Hi, everybody. So I'm Nick Norris. I'm the planning director for Salt Lake City, and I was asked to, as Landon said, to come and talk about the process that this proposed rezoning would go through. So what's been submitted by the property owner is allowed a developer to submit what's called the general plan amendment and the zoning map amendment for that property where the Sizzler used to be. You're probably all familiar with prior proposals that have come through here. This one's quite a bit different in that they're proposing to first change the Sugar House community plan, which has more of a low intensity mixed use designation for that piece of property. So that's pretty much 2-3 story types of mixed use buildings. They're proposing to go up to, I can't remember the exact designation of the plan, but I think it's the same as the Sugar House Business District across the street. So, well, I'm talking about the general plan right now. I'm not talking about the zoning. So the reason why they have to submit a general plan is because in order for us, a couple years ago, the city put into our code some clarification on when someone has to amend a plan associated with a zoning map amendment. And so when the plan doesn't support or has a different designation than what the proposed zone is, they have to also amend the plan. And so that's what they're doing. The zoning map amendment is going from what is currently a CB zone, which this is a little bit convoluted, but in October it changes to an MU3 zone. They're essentially the exact same zone. Up to an MU8 zone. An MU8 zone allows almost all the same uses that the MU3 does, just buildings up to 90 feet in height. Sorry about the phone there. So that's what they're proposing. And both of those processes, they run concurrently, so they run at the same time. They require a 45-day public input period. That's where we send notice to property owners, community councils, and other recognized organizations about the proposal. And that's where we take all of the input. Then we take that input after that 45-day period is up, and we combine it with all of the city departments who also review all of these things. So everything from our waste management, even though they don't serve properties like this, they do help operate or manage the landfill where all the waste goes. down to public utilities, transportation, urban forestry, engineering, basically you name something that's involved in the built environment, they review these proposals too, and they all submit our comments to us. We collate all of that stuff together. We review other citywide policies to come up with a recommendation. So that recommendation doesn't happen until we get all of that information. So that happens typically after the 45-day period. From there, it goes to the Planning Commission. So the Planning Commission is basically an appointed board of Salt Lake City residents that they basically review, and on general plan amendments and zoning amendments, they make a recommendation to the city council. So they're not the decision maker. On a lot of other things, they are. So when you see other types of applications that come before the various community councils, they're usually the decision maker. So, but in this case, they make a recommendation. So they're not a final decision maker. From there, it gets sent to the city council, who basically repeats the planning commission process, but they get to make a decision. So they usually have some informational briefings. They're required by city code. Interestingly enough, state code does not require a city council to hold public hearings for zoning amendments, but our city code does. And so they'll hold a public hearing, then they will make a decision. One of the key components of all general plan and zoning amendments that are site specific like this is that the applicant is required to propose some community benefit. Those community benefits are actually listed in our code now. They used to not be. We used to have a really hard time trying to negotiate with people who wanted to increase their zoning and change the general plan and stuff. But now we have a prescribed process for that. So that's part of our consideration as well. So this has not been, so the 45-day, official 45-day period, I think ends towards the end of August, like 28th or something like that. It has not been scheduled for a planning commission meeting yet. And sometimes you'll see when we send notices out, we actually include the planning commission date. Those are usually for really more straightforward, small text amendment types of things, not for big projects like this, because we don't know what all the input's going to be yet. And it'll take us some time to work with all of the city departments and collate all those public comments and other interests that we get to come up with that recommendation. So I wouldn't expect that this happens, that planning commission happens in September. October is more than likely the earliest. You never know, that could change. Everything could fall in line and we could be ready to roll sometime in September. So happy to so let me tell you what happens if that general plan and zoning amendments are approved. So the city council has a variety of options. They can approve it. They can approve something different. They can deny it. They can require a applicant to go through a development agreement process, all of those types of things. The city councils generally have a lot of discretion on these types of proposals. But if it is approved, then they have to submit all of their necessary drawings to make sure that it complies with all of the city codes, not just zoning, building code, fire code, public utility requirements. So making sure that there's adequate water supply, storm drainage, sewer, the other utility companies all weigh in too. So that's a pretty lengthy process. The MU8 zone does require buildings that are over 75 feet in height to go through a design review process. So if it ends up that that it gets approved and this building ends up above 75 feet, there will be another public process that's very similar to the zoning change, only it stops at the planning commission. So the planning commission would be the decision maker on that. It wouldn't go to the city council after that. So that's generally in a nutshell how our processes work. Happy to take questions. Yeah.
So you're looking at the end state, which is potentially a hotel on that corner, but as residents, we're going to have to put up with the construction state, having just endured 3-4 years or whatever construction. Do you look at impact to the park, impact to 1300, crossing the street there, does that get sort of factored into anything? that you guys look at?
Yes, yeah. So the more not necessarily during construction, but the longer term impacts on how all the city systems are impacted are definitely taken into consideration. The city does have a construction mitigation ordinance, and I think we're in the process, if we haven't already, of updating that. That's not my work group that deals with that, but the idea is to maintain, one of the things that's happened quite a bit in the last 5 or 6 years, especially not just in Sugar House, but in other parts of the city, we've had so much construction activity that sidewalks have been closed sometimes and I know you guys have experienced this in the Sugar House Business District, sometimes closed for over a year. So we've changed some of how we deal with that. So now the construction project's required to maintain at least pedestrian access. There's sometimes where that's not possible, right? The days they have to make the connections to underground utilities and things like that. There's exceptions for that, but generally they have to keep those things open. There's also a period of time when utilities and streets are new, where we will not let somebody cut into those unless it's an emergency. So, even with all the inspections that we do with new water lines and sewer lines and storm drains, sometimes materials fail, things like that. Occasionally there has to be some work where we have to cut in and do some emergency repair type of work. That's limited. So I think that's usually under Utah law, we have a 1-year warranty period with the contractors who do all that kind of work. And so we don't want, if we cut into it, except for emergency, it voids that warranty. So we don't want to do those kinds of things. Yeah, there's a question right here.
You mentioned in the MU8, the height situation. What is the height maximum with the MU3 zoning that it is currently or going to go to?
35 feet. All right, there's two right. I'm going to take the person behind. There you go.
If someone were to feel that placing a hotel in one of our fabulous parks was a travesty and a great degradation of our shared spaces, where should that person go to make that known and try to put the brakes on this disaster?
So the right way to submit comment is one on our webpage and at the meeting next week. When is that? 16th? Yeah, I'm going to get to that. Yeah, there is a specific planner whose job is to manage the process for this project. So her name's Amanda Roman. Her contact information is on where this project's listed on our website, and I believe she'll be at the meeting next week. But yeah. All right, person in front.
Nick, so what levers and what part of the process does the city have to ensure that if I thought I was loud, but that's all right. What leverage does the city or in what part of the process do you all collectively have in ensuring that the developer adheres to, maybe there's a plan that collectively we like? At what point can a council or planning commission apply leverage and put the developer in contract to ensure that a parcel that gets, a rezone and a new entitlement that isn't then attached to the parcel and then flipped to some other plan that perhaps the community then has to repeat this process and we, perhaps have more disagreement with?
Yeah. So for something like this, when there's a specific development proposal, the city council can require them to enter into what's called a development agreement. And so what that development agreement does is that it puts certain, it has to be associated with the zoning approval. So the zoning approval would have to be adopted. But part of that would be this development agreement, which can put restrictions on what can actually happen. So it can restrict it more than what the MU8 does. So for example, if the end result is we want a hotel and not anything else that could be allowed in that zone, that development agreement could restrict the use to only the uses proposed by the applicant. So that's up to the city council. What happens when they want to do that is they will express what those conditions are. And at the time of adopting the ordinance, they'll subject it to a development agreement. Then that's where the city attorneys and the planning division, we actually write that, and it kind of goes back and forth with the developer to make sure all the other conditions that are necessary to enforce a contract are in place, and then it becomes official once that contract is executed. So signed by the council approving it, it authorizes the mayor to sign into a development agreement that's consistent with what the council approved.
It's how comments still be made at the
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
I actually have two questions,
Okay.
sorry. So first one is, I actually just Google Earth, from 11th to 13th, it's almost a 60-foot height difference. So we have kind of a grade change there. Does that apply, or is that considered when a development is saying, hey, we're just gonna build the same height across the street, but they're actually at a higher elevation?
So the heights are measured at that property's property lines. So that's where it's taken into consideration. The impacts of height are things that are considered as part of the process. So we don't necessarily look at, the height of maybe the elevation of 11th East. We'd look at 13th East, and then where that height is going to be most impactful, which is more than likely, at least visually impactful, more than likely from the east to the west, or from certain spots around that intersection. So that's where that would be discussed. But we don't necessarily look at, just because there's a 100-foot building down on Wilmington and 1100 East, that would be something that's appropriate here.
Right, and I guess I'm thinking, if it's higher here, it might look taller just because it's slightly higher on one side of the road.
The lot isn't flat either. The towards the northeast
It
corner,
slopes.
it's quite a bit higher. So.
Yeah, almost every property, even when you go downtown, think that they're flat, has slope in Salt Lake. So we're used to dealing with slope.
And this is kind of the general plan implications, but is there a concern from, I guess the city or planning commission that allowing a change east of 13th will open up, say, a kind of a precedent or urban sprawl that would allow, people across 21st to say, hey, you guys gave them an M8, now what stops them from asking to be in the business district, town center scale? And how do you, looking at Salt Lake City, from north to south, there's really not anything taller than an M6 east of 13th. So it's kind of changing a precedent on that. Is there any thought on how that affects?
So generally, the way the general plan works is, so any property owner can submit a proposal to change the designations on their property, whether it's the general plan or the zoning. They have that right to do that. But as far as it setting a precedent, the impacts are often so property specific that it doesn't really set a legal precedent. So just because the city may approve something on this property doesn't mean that it would approve it on, 15th East and 2100 South, where there's other similar, MU3 properties or whatever they are there. So it doesn't really set that precedent.
And with the structure being kind of its own parcel for a big section, it doesn't really tier into the community, and that's kind of that CB community business was to scale down as you enter the residential. So is that considered that this thing is standalone with not much development around it?
It probably will be. Yeah.
So I don't really have a question, but I want to have you say this out loud so everybody knows. I think some people think that, or don't realize this is commercially owned property already. Doesn't Maverick still have the lease on it?
They do.
Okay.
Yep. Back.
All right, I guess you're
Okay.
the closest. Great. Even though it's owned commercially owned, I'm wondering if there's a way to intervene on the process to say, like, what's best for this particular space that's so unique and has that vantage point in the city. So is there any possible chance to intervene and say, this should become, part of a rec center that's related to the park, a pool, and just something that's more recreation centered versus tourism centered in such a beautiful, distinctive residential area in the country.
So
The reason I moved here is that park.
So the only way that can happen is if a public entity purchased the property and made one of those types of things. So we can't force that property owner to do that. But yeah, if there's some other public, like public rec, I know one of the main comments we hear is that it should be integrated into the park. We can't force that property owner to do that unless some public entity has the resources to purchase it and the current property owner is willing to sell it to a public entity, which isn't always the case.
And that
Even when we have the money.
And has it been broached at all? Yes. Like
That
the city said
that has several years ago. That was something that the city considered, and there just wasn't the interest of the property owner to sell it. And apparently, recently by the school district.
Yeah, thank you again. I just want to ask about traffic impact. Does that factor in at all to the use? Obviously, parking will be underground probably, but just, again, we can continue to see the congestion in that area. And how much does that factor in? Does it matter? Yeah, sorry.
It does factor in. In fact, that was the primary reason why the gas station was denied. But they actually submitted a traffic study that showed the in and out traffic was going to be, I think, multiple times greater than many other uses on the property. And so, to their credit, they were honest with their studies that they submitted, and unfortunately, it didn't work out the way they wanted it to. Could be.
I just want to confirm that the Planning Commission and the City Council do have a number of options. This isn't just a thing where if the developer ticks off every box, then that decision has to be made. But there are choices that can be made, a wide range of choices. So if you'd reaffirm that, I'd be comforted.
Yes. So the Planning Commission makes a recommendation. So they have all kinds of flexibility in that because no one's obligated to follow what the Planning Commission recommends for these types of things. The City Council also has great discretion. And the reason why we don't have set concrete standards for approval of zoning amendments is for that very reason. Because when you have a standard under state code, if a standard's met, you have to approve it. And so we don't use those standards that way. We call them something completely different so that we can maintain the legislative discretion that our City Council has. Yep.
Okay, so we're going to do one more question from Soren, and then we'll let you go. And then we'll talk about how we're going to do contact. We'll have Sarah Young come up and talk about how you can contact and get your comments in.
A couple of years ago, I think it was, our council representative, Sarah Young, initiated a petition to look at transfer of development rights for the Sugar House area. Can you tell us where that is?
Yeah, so basically what we've done is we've worked on the zoning consolidation, because doing a transfer of development rights program when you have 27 zoning districts that essentially do the same thing was like a ball of string, right? Trying to unravel that and figure out how it would work and what the realistic results of that may be was really, really challenging. And so we put that on hold until we could get the zoning consolidation going so that it was easier to try to calculate what that meant. And so we knew where heights, particularly building heights, were. So for those that don't know, a transfer of development rights program is one where properties in one area can sell their unused development potential, and it can be used in another area. So it's usually done with residential, but it can be done with commercial uses and things like that. So if you have you're trying to preserve some open space that's privately owned, maybe you have a minimum lot size of 1 acre per dwelling. but you create this program where someone could transfer those, maintain that existing one home they have. They could transfer those 9 homes to some other spot in the city, into some receiving area. So that program authorizes that to happen. The city does not have a current transfer of development rights program, but it's something that we have actually looked at for many years. And for whatever reason, we haven't done it. And there's lots of reasons why. Partly, and I think the biggest reason is we're trying to figure out what areas to protect. What are those priority areas? It's possible to do it even within a development. So if you have like the old Shopko site, for example, if we had a transfer of development rights program, they could move heights from one building to another building if they had, say you had 80 feet, but this building you're building is only 30. You can take that 50 feet and plop it on top of another building in the development. So that's probably something that's going to happen sooner than later. But we're trying to prioritize where those areas we want to protect are in the city, and we haven't gotten to that point yet.
Just a follow-up comment. The reason I bring it up in this context, I know Councilwoman Young's thought behind that process as she articulated it was to look at other goals in the Sugar House Business District, historic preservation, sensitive sites. Allen Park at one point was being considered for development, a really sensitive area. And so, I'm curious if that could be a possibility rather than just upzoning this property, pretty significant, doubling or tripling the development density, is that if it was coupled with a TDR program, we could accomplish other goals like preserving riparian corridors or natural areas. This site could actually be preserved by a TDR program if it's not appropriate to develop at this density on this particular location. Maybe that goes somewhere else. So I think it's really important to move TDR programs forward as quickly as possible, because it may come into play with this property and give us a chance to accomplish some other really important goals for the Sugar House community.
So one key point, they only come into play as if property owners on both sides are willing to participate, right?
Yeah.
So that property, the current property owner of this proposed zoning change site would have to be willing to participate in something like that.
Sure.
And it may be that they don't want to. When we've talked to some property owners about it in other parts of the city, they have not really expressed an interest in participating in something like that. So, but for this project, because they have an application in, they are at least entitled to the process in place at the time. So we can't change the rules on the process for them. That doesn't mean we have to approve something as a city, but we can't suddenly throw a new process at them and say, go try to do this first. So.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks for coming. Thank you. Sorry you want to come up. Hey, thanks. We'll have our councilwoman come on up.
He's walking out the door. I will tell you, there are very few community councils that get the director of planning. So one more time for Nick Norris. Woo! All right, team. So this is going to be like a dialogue that is taking place over multiple meetings, okay? So I always like to articulate the process so that people understand, like, Sarah, we already talked about it at this meeting. Why are we talking about it again? Yes, and that is just in following in alignment with kind of what Nick outlined. So you are very fortunate here in the Sugar House area, as am I, that we have an incredible land use and zoning chair in Judy Short. Judy is the individual who is collecting comments on behalf of Sugar House Community Council, and those comments are submitted to the Planning Commission in aggregate. You are certainly willing to, and it is possible to submit your own comments directly to the Planning Commission as well. But I will say that coming through Judy Short has like an extra gold star next to your name because she has been such an incredible advocate for this community over the course of the history of engagement with the Planning Commission. So both are options, but I really like to highlight and always emphasize that if we start local, that's important. So let's keep going local because Judy is going to be hosting an opportunity to meet with the development owner, the property owner. Do you think they're going to be there? Okay, well, that'll be exciting. To be able to discuss this project in more detail, because we do expect that meeting to have more interest than our typical land use, which maybe only has like 10 to 12 individuals, but they are diehard individuals. It is going to be at a larger venue. Principal Chatterton? On it. Okay, so that would be Highland High School. In terms of what those next steps look like. From there, it does go to Planning Commission. For Planning Commission in District 7, we have an incredible representative in Amy Berry, but you're welcome to send your comments directly to the planner, in this case, Amanda Roman, who is going to be the individual who is overseeing that public comment process. There is an opportunity when it's heard at Planning Commission to also give live public comment. And we've done that before as a community where we kind of marshaled the troops to be able to make sure that the voice of Sugar House was being heard. In addition to that, once it goes from there, then the chair of the council is the one who works with staff to be able to get it onto a future agenda. We then have more public comment opportunities that come before city council before then a decision is made. That said, it is generally about, on a really good day, 2 months, if not longer, before we have an outcome on this process. So just keep that in mind, because this topic will continually be discussed and brought up until we reach kind of that conclusion area. The one thing I just like to emphasize, because I get so many emails from very passionate individuals who love Sugar House Park just as much as I do, it's just really important to emphasize what Nick said. The city, prior to me serving as council, did approach the property owner about potentially acquiring that property, and there was not interest. Okay. And because that is privately owned, when folks say, well, can't it just be part of the park? We as the city do not have the right or authority on a private property owner to mandate that. So this is the process they are choosing to pursue, and we are following our city processes as a part of that. I'm sure there are going to be more questions. So, because there is more to do in this meeting, as I'm sure Landon will tell you, I will be here afterwards. I am also here at every meeting. And so you have an opportunity, whether it's tonight or in future meetings or at the land use committee meeting. I'm here. I am happy to talk to you. It is helpful for me to hear from as many residents as possible, so that we can have the voice of the community heard, and I can stand for that. So, and with that, I'm going to hand it back to Landon. Oh, updates in the city. Lots going on. Okay, real quick. So a couple of other things. Here we go. So CIP applications are moving through. Where's Kim? Kim. Okay. So we do have multiple applications coming in from District 7. This is the capital improvement projects. And there's a couple of things that I always like to remind people. So number one, because this is a highly competitive funding stream for the city, a lot of times we have to submit projects more than once to be able to get them move forward. Currently, we have 2 District 7 constituent proposals, which are being recommended by the Mayor's Office for Funding, that are both in their 3rd year of application. So one of those is related to installing some curb, gutter, and sidewalk over on Adkins Street, where they have none. So it's not like we're improving someone's, it's like they just currently have none. And so that's on the list from the mayor's recommendation, as well as another proposal related to the Hawk Watch that is on Richmond Street. A lot of people call it still like the Highland Drive area, like you're driving down to go to the Brickyard Harmons, in between Zenith and where the Little Geniuses daycare is. So you may have seen it recently on Fox 13, that's a very dangerous area. We've done a lot as a city with those residents to be able to help improve the visibility of the signage. We've installed flags. We've done everything within kind of the constraints of the budget, and none of that is really creating a safer crosswalk. So the Hawk Watch will be like the big step to be able to make that safer for all the residents who are using that back and forth. Now, there are other proposals that are being considered related to the CIP budget. Like I said, we have Kim here, who is advocating for safe streets related to her streets in the second half of the safe streets of Sugar House area. If you're familiar with the first half run by Sarah Woolsey, as well as some requests for some pavement improvement up by Hillside Middle School, if you're or junior high, if you're familiar with that area, as well as Cosgriff and Texas Street in that area. So all of that to say is that the city council is going to be making some decisions related to where those are. So if you have strong feelings about this is the CIP that I think we really need to consider, keep in mind, I'm really open to those feedbacks, but it also has to come with, and this is what I wouldn't fund, because right now the money's accounted for. So it's about not prioritizing something this year and flipping it. Second thing I want to touch on, Fairmont Park. So yes, over the summer and actually starting in late spring, we saw a huge increase in the amount of illegal camping activity, as well as just the challenges that we've had within that general area. They really spiked. And if we've had a lot of discussions about this, but the general history is that the city made really concerted efforts to clean up Jordan River Trail. We ultimately saw those populations move into Liberty Park. We've invested a lot of resources to help, improve the safety of Liberty Park. We then saw it move to Herman Franks baseball field, right catty corner to that. And then when we put additional resources there, we've now seen it along the S line as well as in Fairmont. There are two things I am asking for of the community. Number one, if you see something, say something, because that helps me to be able to advocate for the resources that luckily we were able to increase as part of the budget with additional park security, as well as additional patrols that are helping us in terms of security in that area. It's not where it needs to be, which is why I'm asking, if you see something, say something. There are two really good ways to do that. Number one, if it is like illegal activity, like 911 is your best friend. If it is something where you're like, it's not an emergency, we do have the Salt Lake City Police non-emergency line, and we have My SLC app, which is a really great tool for you to be able to take a photo, take a video, file it quickly, and then continue on with your day. So help me, help us by having that data come in, because it really makes a difference with the city. Fairmont is moving forward with really great plans and advocacy across this area. And so the more data we have about what the high traffic needs areas are, the better plan we can create for our community, so that when we break ground, that we have that in place. Last but not least, because it's somewhat related. So you may be like, you don't look like Detective Fallows, and you're right, I'm not. So Detective Sam Fallows, who has been our Salt Lake City Police Community Liaison, has a temporary, but hopefully soon to be permanent promotion. So thank you all for supporting him. I know Sugar House Community Council wrote him a letter, and so we're all super excited for him. But what that does mean is that whereas we could usually be like, Detective Fallows, I have another issue. He heard from me a lot. We really want to make sure that we're using those general lines of communication into the city networks until we get assigned what would be a future community liaison for this area. It doesn't mean you can't reach out to Detective Fallows. He's the most amazing individual, and I know he will take your calls and your emails, but I do want to note that he will be delayed because he has additional responsibilities related to his new role as an acting sergeant. So just keeping that piece in mind, wanted to give a shout out to our friend Detective Fallows. Thank you so much. We're so excited for him. And like I said, we hope it's permanent. So, okay.
Thank you. Thank you as always. We're gonna get a quick Highland High update. So they've started construction. This is the principal.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Great to see everybody. Yeah, just did want to give some quick updates on what's happening with the Highland High construction. First off, I guess let me talk about what's happening at the Roslyn Heights facility. If you're familiar with Roslyn Heights, just off 20th East and off Parley's Canyon Road, or whatever, Parley's Drive Road, whatever that is right there. That has been, over this last year, converted into, the building is gone. It has been converted into a turf field and 6 tennis courts. There's a playground and pavilion that are on there as well. Those facilities are going to be being used by the Highland students for our tennis team. Our tennis team's using it now as they've had tryouts. And then soccer and lacrosse is designated right now on that field. So we're really excited about it. It's a beautiful facility. They've done a great job. There are lights, but I can assure you that talking with our facilities director, Isaac Castile, everything will be turned off in that area by 9 o'clock every night. So there's a hard turn off of 9 o'clock every evening for the lights and anything else, any other activity going on in that area. One thing that we are asking, and we do have it fenced currently, but can't guarantee that will always happen. But one thing we're really asking for is keeping animals off the turf. Already we've had some neighbors bringing their dogs on the turf. And yeah, the new field turf is not dog friendly, so we need to try and keep animals off there as much as possible. But we do want to make it. It will be community. It will be open to community when the high school is not using it. But again, everything will have a hard shut off at 9 p.m. At Highland High School specifically, we have started construction in our south parking lot. The tennis courts that were there are now gone, and that is being repaved and relined this week for parking, as we are going to break ground on our main construction of a new building this coming March. So for a joyous probably 5 months, we're going to have a lot of parking, and then after that, it's going to be a little messy. I am being told that we're actually only losing, with the amount of parking they're putting in the south lot now, we're actually only losing about 10 spots from what we had before. So we do still have a lot of parking in the facility, but it's going to be pretty cramped. So just want to make sure everyone is aware of that. The construction phase, whole thing will probably go until about 2030. As we are breaking ground this March. We are expecting to be in the new building by 2028. But that means that we'll probably have another year and a half where they're tearing down the old building and then finishing off the parking lots and the fields that will be there as well. So just want to make sure everyone's ready. We're excited. It is absolutely needed. And we are really making a concerted effort to make sure we're able to run school without putting students in portables or anything else. So students will be in one building and then all moving into the new building. We are not going to need any portables for any students. So it's really good, but yes, it's going to be a little messy for the next few years.
We talked about what's going to happen. There's going to be a change in where there's that changing grade of the southern property line with Sugar House Park.
Yes, so there is going to be a change in grade with that parking with where Sugar House Park is. So there, if you look at the south end of Highland High School, to where kind of behind there's a pavilion there and in a little hill right off 1700 East. So the Salt Lake City School District actually does own their property line goes up to where that pavilion is, and they're going to be reclaiming that piece of land. And so what will be happening is where the current soccer field is off of 21st South, they're going to be digging that out, and that land, that massive dirt will then move to where that property line is, and then there will be a retaining wall put in there. Still working, I think, with the park. I have not seen any final decisions made on exactly what that's going to look like. I know there's some different conversations about how to best landscape it, how to best make it look nice, so it's just not a big cement wall. But I'm not sure where that has ended up at this point. So as soon as I find that information out, I'll let you know. But that'll probably be happening in the next probably 2 years.
Have they released the architectural renderings yet?
So the basic renderings in terms of what the footprint of the building has been released, and you can find that on the Salt Lake City School District website. And hopefully next month. Today, I had the opportunity to see, they presented to our school board, some of our school board members had the opportunity to see what the renderings are going to look like from 21st South, and then also from just kind of from 17th East and looking around the building. It looks much better than I hoped. So I'm excited for that. One of the main concerns that I had was, and just as this my personal feelings, so the building is going to be south facing. There's a lot of reasons for that. Number one, it's very energy efficient. Uh, much less work in terms of snow removal with the south facing building, which means the back of the building will be along 2100 South. So the initial concern I really had, and what I talked with the architects about, was making sure it doesn't look like the back of a building along 2100 South. And so through the conversations we've had and the renderings I saw today, it looks really nice. And so a lot of windows. Yes. So
on the north side, because there's a lot of kids that ride.
So yes, so there will be an entrance for like the beginning of the day, but then it will be locked down. There will also be a small parking lot and entrance there that's where our daycare facility, and there will be a new health clinic that will be part of the high school. So run through the University of Utah. So the University of Utah opened a health clinic at West High School last year, and it has been built in as part of the part of the plans with the new Highland High School as well. So there will be a health clinic that's built into there as well. So really excited about that. But and then with that, I know that the city has other plans of putting a roundabout in on 21st and 17th. And so we're working on how that's going to impact. Talking with the architects, they do feel as though that will actually be a positive to have some additional space right there. But there's going to be a lot of action happening 21st and 17th for the next little bit. So yes.
I guess there is a community recycling tank on the school property right now. I can't remember the company, but it's available for the community to put clean carbon in. Is that going to be relocated to the back of the facility? So as of right now, where those facilities will be, it has been moved to, I think, on the north end currently, where that circle is near our soccer field. In the final renderings that I've seen so far, the kind of back of house and where a lot of those deliveries are going to be is kind of along that corner of 21st and 17th, although it will be hidden. So there will be, again, these are a lot of the conversations we've had as you're putting in the main face of this building along these thoroughfares. How do we make it not look like the back of house? And so there will be some walls put up to kind of hide that space, but they will still be there. So yes, I know. Me too. No problem. Anything else? Again, it just is a.
Have you sent out yet information just about the change in traffic patterns with the parking relocated? I don't think I've seen it yet, but my daughter will be driving in a month, if you can believe my baby girl. She has a year to go before she's got on her own. But.
So yeah, the current parking lot where it has an entrance only and then an exit only, that is being changed right now, and that will be restriped this week. For that, the one entrance that's going into there from 1700 East will both be in and out, and then also an in and out on 21st as well. The other entrance has been part of the construction they've done so far. That will be our new kind of bus drop-off area, special education bus drop-off. So that's been a little bit adjusted, but again, school starts. Salt Lake City School District starts August 19th. I do know our friends over at Cosgriff start next Monday on the 11th. So we are in back to school, as our fine fireman said. Just make sure you're aware of that. But yeah, all your Salt Lake City School Districts start on Tuesday the 19th. So looking forward to a great year. Come by and see us. Go Rams.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Rusty, are you ready? Lori, if you can come up for a second, and Sophie, be brief. Yeah, both of you come on up. I'll have you introduce her. Does that work? Okay.
I want to invite all of you to look at the Sugar House Community timeline back there that the Neighborhood Hive let me put up, which is really nice. And in case you haven't been here for any of the meetings lately, it's the 50-year anniversary of Sugar House Community Council. So thank goodness for Lynn Olson and all her files and her brochures and her stories and her photocopies. A lot of the pictures are mine. but man, without her, I couldn't have put this together. So it'll be here through August 23rd, the Bonnie Ball. So come back and shop when it's empty here, and then you can look at it. It's also the Sugar House Art Walk this Friday from 6 until 9. And, that's one of the best ways to support local business because there's art in all the places. There'll be some pop-ups on Monument Plaza and in front of some of the other spots. Live music in a couple spots. And now I want to introduce you to Sophie Nebeker, who Lana introduced me to. She just has the most fabulous idea for an art project in Sugar House.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sophie. I am here just to strike some hope that there is a need, or there is want and a need to put more art activities and art projects in public spaces in and around Salt Lake City community, but also specifically Sugar House, as there's already a really awesome precedent for public arts in that space. So this all kind of started when I was seeing this sign on 11th East by Ramona by the Brickham Yoga Studio. It's the Sugar House lettering has not been there for many years. I'm a sculptor. I work with metal, cast metal like bronze and iron, as well as ceramics. And so I was thinking of a way that I could get involved to kind of re-beautify this space with a community a community engaged project. So I'm just kind of here seeing if there is a general support for these kinds of ideas. This one specifically would be a tile mural where I invite community members to make their own tiles to be installed on this public facade where you can walk by and you could point out like, oh, I made that tile. I'm still in the process of finding some funding sources from it. I know Salt Lake City Arts Council has some awesome opportunities. I'm looking into that. So you'll see me, or you'll hear about me coming for some support in the future. And I also wanted to shout out really quick. UMOCA has opened up a grant opportunity funded by the Art Assemblage Fund, and I'm right now working on an application to bring craft-based arts to the community in the form of a workshop and a performance of building a kiln in unlikely spaces and firing a kiln. So to me, I imagine doing a workshop with some folks of hand building clay, and then I teach how to lay and build a kiln to do a raku firing in potentially downtown Salt Lake, or maybe on the salts of the Great Salt Lake salt flats. I'm working on the application now. I haven't heard if it gets selected. Hopefully I'll be able to connect with you more. I just wanted to shout out if anybody has any private businesses that have an outdoor patio that would be interested in hosting a performative raku firing. I would love to be connected, or just any other just words of support. I'm definitely looking forward to putting some public art practices and arts activities into the community. Again, my name is Sophie Nebeker, and I look forward to hearing from you guys.
So we need help from the city to find out who owns that wall. Like, we don't know.
I was gonna say we probably need to talk to Lynn, because I think
He doesn't know. We already asked him.
because I thought we were supposed to fix it as part of Fairmont Drive. So
No, he doesn't know.
can you email me, and
Sure.
He's on I very seldom take vacation, so I can help run that down. Because the other thing that, nerd alert, you can't put certain materials close to roads, right? Particularly at certain speeds of roads, because we don't want the things we put near the road come down if you hit them with a car. So it's sort of surprising that there is a giant concrete monument right next to the road. We did lower the speed limit. So anyway, I want to check out some of those things to see if we can reuse what's there, or if we need to look at some else.
Great.
But if you'll
Yeah,
connect me by
I'll
email,
email you. Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Fires, anybody need fires?
All right, Rusty's here to talk about the red brick building by Fairmont. Coming up for some senior housing. Is that what that's the right term?
Good evening. Hold it up. Hold it up. There's a presentation, but my name's Russ. I'm a project partner for Lincoln Avenue Communities. We partnered up with the Housing Authority of the City of Salt Lake to do a project that I believe has come in front of the before. We're a little further along. Actually, just got some additional financing and approval that we were waiting on. So we wanted to come back and give you an update on where we're. The project is called Irma's at Fairmont. you guys probably have a lot more knowledge about Irma than I do. This is just some of the information that I was able to find on her, but we wanted to more memorialize her and honor her because she lived here in Sugar House for until she was well over 100, I believe. So Irma Rosenhan lived on Green Street right here in Sugar House. Her father and her sister died when she was 10, and then just kind of got the bug of helping people, after that. She attended Granite High School in 1933. She sang at the World Fair in 1934 at the age of 19. Went over to Germany over in 1938 and got stuck there once the war broke out. And she actually was published of her story in the Mayan Angels Roundabout. And then after that, when she got back, she worked for the church and did volunteer work right here in Sugar House for all the way up until she was 101. And then she was recognized in Congress in 2019 and then passed away in November of 2020. So we just felt as a senior housing community that she was the perfect person, and we decided to put her name on this building. Next slide. As I mentioned, we're Lincoln Avenue Communities. We did partner with the Housing Authority of Salt Lake, and we do have a local general contractor at Petalin, and our architect who is one of the best in the Western Rocky Mountains in this affordable senior kind of industry that we do. The site. So a lot of talk tonight about Fairmont Park. We are kind of right across South 1100 from Fairmont, right at the corner of Simpson and South 1100, which I believe it's currently called the York Building, two-story office building there. That will be demolished and then rebuilt. A little bit about Lincoln Avenue. We're a relatively new company, but we were founded in 2016. We are a mission-based affordable developer. We don't do anything but affordable housing and senior housing. And we do that in 28 states across the country. And since our inception, have built roughly 27,000 units of affordable housing across the country. Currently we've got about $1 billion under construction in the various states. Last year, we put more units on the ground than any other developer of affordable housing, which was around 6,000. So a little bit of the Housing Authority too. They've been around since 1970. They obviously have a mission to help and provide affordable housing along with many other programs. Right now, they assist more than 3,000 households through housing choice vouchers, public housing, and other multifamily programs. 10,000 individuals are assisted through those programs or in units that they have developed. HAME, which is the Housing Assistance Management Enterprise, is actually the group that we're partnering with. It's their nonprofit arm, and they've built roughly a little over 1,000 units with other developments to include this one under progress, or currently in progress. And then the Housing Authority is truly one of the leading senior housing veterans and homeless in the country. Of these 35 plus 100 other housing authorities that focus on other things, they're certainly a leader there. A little bit about the development. Kind of already talked about where it's located there, but we do have 110 units. It's mixed income, which means we go all the way down to 20% of the area median income and all the way up to the 80% of the area median income. That 80%, just to give everybody a little perspective, is roughly at market rate, give or take a little bit, but generally it's there. Not Class A luxury apartment, but at market rate pricing. So we truly do have a full gamut of income levels, and are really going to be able to reach out into the Sugar House community and provide housing to seniors 62 and older that fall within these income bands. There's 90. Oh, yep. No, you're good. We can. I can talk about it. There's 91 bedroom units at roughly 710 units, 710 square feet, and 22 bedroom units, one bath, at a little over 1,000 square feet. Sorry, you can move on to the next one now. The zoning allows for this multifamily. It is currently this CSHDB1. I believe it is moving to MU something in a couple of months. But we've already submitted, so we're falling under the current zoning. It is 5 stories. There's 2 stories of parking and then 5 stories of residential living above it. And then there is actually some units and some amenity space on those first and second floors also. You can expect, even though it's affordable housing, we design all of our buildings across the country to, again, a market rate standard that has all of the, similar amenities that you would see in a regular apartment complex. So this, we'll talk a little bit about the design. This, again, you see your first 2 stories on there. That's parking, and then again some units and amenity space along there. This is looking right at the corner of Simpson and 1100, looking into the building. This would be if you were in Fairmount Park and looking at the building. You can see here we've got a nice courtyard that opens up into Fairmount Park, and this is a 2nd story outdoor amenity area that overlooks the park there, and then phase 1 and phase 2 of the buildings. Another kind of view down South 1100. And this is kind of the overhead view of the courtyard and the outdoor area right there at the top. And this is kind of the whole area there. And our building is obviously this one on the corner up there. That's the one that's currently under construction right now. And then all the other buildings out there. And then one just kind of last view there of that courtyard along 1100 South, or South 1100. These are a little bit hard to see. All of this is on the website, I believe, or will be on the yes. A little bit easier to see probably. This is just the first floor, so just to kind of give everybody a little idea of what's going on. We obviously have our parking, then we have a few units, and then we have all of our office space and some community space. And then on the 2nd floor, which is the next slide, you've got additional parking, and then a whole bunch of amenity space, computer rooms, media rooms, community rooms, all for the residents. And then lastly, again, hard to see on this, but definitely take some time when it gets on the website to look at it. We really only have 1 and 2 bedrooms, but we do have a large number of fully accessible units as part of this building. So there's a few different configurations of the 2-bedroom types. And then lastly, this is just kind of our timeline. We are calling it phase 1, phase 2. At the end of the day, it's going to be one big building. But we are looking to close and start construction kind of October, November of this year. And then close on the financing for phase 2 sometime right after the new year, February, March of 2026. We would start pre-leasing all of the first phase units in November, which is roughly about 12 months following our construction start. And then similarly start in March, pre-leasing for phase 2 with construction completion following up in March of 27 and July of 27. And that's, it may be closer, maybe June or April of 2027 for phase 2, but we like to give everybody a little more time. And so, yeah, I think that is it as far as, the information that I have. I'm more than happy to answer questions. Yes, correct. 2 stories with 5 residential. Yep. 100% rental, 100% 62 and older. It's the yeah.
It's Judy's website.
Yeah, and I'm happy to pass it around to whoever it needs to be, and I can send it. It's a pretty big file, so we had trouble getting it today. So, but we got it. So. Yeah, so it's so I would say that 75% of the units, 70-ish, are 60 and below. So I think we have maybe 10 units total of 70 or 80% in the 110 units. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah. Sure. That's a wonderful question. I could have been thinking about it daily. We do have we don't have a full contract signed yet. We're working to that. That will happen, September-ish, right before we close. And within those contracts, there is some very specific language about tariffs and what the contractor can and cannot charge us as far as change orders and whatnot. We also carry about a 10% contingency on top of the, construction contract, which in this case would be between the 2 phases of another couple of $1 million that we hope would, balance out any of that increase. But yes, I mean it's a thing, and developers have to deal with it on a cyclical basis whenever it happens. So,
Great. Thank you. All right, you want to go first, or Bill? I'm making Bill sit here, so you can't make it the cocktail hour. Great, you go first. Yeah, Bill can.
Hi, everybody. I'm Leah Jaramillo. I'm a public engagement. I'm going to give you I'm going to find the written updates so I don't give you wrong dates, because we have actual dates of things now. I'm going to give you 13th East first. Hopefully you've noticed they're getting pretty close to being wrapped up on I searched the word I was saying, not the person I wanted to search. They're getting pretty close to wrapped up on the Highland 13th East fancy intersection. I hope you can see now the raised pedestrian crosswalk, some of the concrete islands that add more better pedestrian protection and bike protection from the lanes. I liked that Sarah was talking about the hawk over there. The reason that hawk is necessary is because people drive too fast in that area. Really, they're hitting the gas hard as they come through in any of the directions. So it's a good reminder to slow down. They are currently working, they're pouring the multi-use path on the east side, which is very exciting. Soon, if you live in that neighborhood, you'll be able to ride or walk and have 10 feet of room and feel safe about it. We were able to finally resolve some utility pole issues and get them out of the way so we could build the path, which is great. They are working on the west side. Chris, in your neighborhood, or not Chris, one of our other trustees' neighborhoods over on the west side by Stratford. They are doing some storm drain installation there on the west side. They will be closing 27th South between Highland and 13th. So just that little leg. This tomorrow night, Friday night into Saturday, early Saturday morning. So nightly, not during the day, into about 6 a.m. Saturday so that they can do some asphalt paving. So that's the great news. Asphalt paving is starting. We are currently tracking night asphalt paving in the 21st to I-80 section of 13th East around the 24th of August. I don't have fixed dates and I do not have their paving plan yet, but we wrote the contractor limitations in such a way that we hope they will do all of one side of the road per night. So it's 3 lanes wide. We're going to be using UDOT's cool new, very high-tech pavement. We will also be doing a similar thing as they did with the masonry. UDOT's state pavement engineer will be coming out, and our Salt Lake City engineering team will be coming to learn about highly modified asphalt placement. If you really want to, if you're interested in that, let me know. We can escort you on site at night. We don't usually put down 6 inches of asphalt at a time. That's a lot. We usually do 3 at a time. So this is a new method for our city. So we're really excited to share that knowledge with our great colleagues at UDOT. So we anticipate about anywhere between a month and 6 weeks of night paving from 21st all the way down. So that's asphalt removal and replacement. And the section, as I've said before, from 21st to 80, we're trying to be really careful and get it done quickly and put back quickly so that you can still get in and out of the businesses that are over there and or onto the freeway, because we will have a big grade difference as they remove that asphalt. So that's the priority. That's the end of August into early September. If you're not on the email list and you drive in that area or walk or bike, get on the email list. You can find that at 13theeastslc.com. And then 21st South, they paved last night and they are paving tonight. Yay! So we are deeply grateful. This contractor has been really excellent. They are ahead of their projected schedule from when they won the project. And that was before we added the water and sewer lines in, right? So they did essentially double the work and they're still going to beat their original schedule. So we're really appreciative. I know it has been very difficult. I went to Hopkins for lunch earlier in the week and there were not many people in there. So I'm going to really encourage you guys to go at the off times, maybe. Lunchtime in the week is pretty slow over there. So definitely help those folks out as we're getting closer and closer. But we are not going to have lanes open probably until the end of the month. So they are paving, but they still have median installation, sidewalk installation, and landscaping. And as you know, we narrowed that stretch. And so there's not space to safely put crews, even doing landscaping work, to put them out there with 2 lanes of traffic. So give us a month before the lanes should start to open up, and then we will be done. We're aiming to be done by October 5th, which I believe the chamber is working on a big celebration for the end of construction. 4th. Sorry, October 4th. Any questions about either of those projects? Go ahead. On Parkway off of Highland or off of 13th? You got it. Okay. I will verify that the do not block intersection sign is in the plans. That's not a typical sign we put up in Salt Lake. I wish we would, to be honest with you, but I don't see it typically, so I will check. Any other questions? In the back.
Where could we go for an update on the 10th and Elm project, the Victorian home with the 5 parcels of land that has been purchased and now dormant for the last year?
So, yeah, I work in roads.
Okay, I'll give you a roads question. Are we getting the calming bulb outs on the south side of Lincoln Street?
Lincoln.
Oh,
No,
sorry, on Elm.
Elm.
So they did
no,
the north,
correct.
not on the south
no,
side?
they are not on the south side. So there is a waterway that goes, not a water, it's a ditch, right? It's a concrete ditch. And so in order to do the bulb outs, it would have caused a lot of having to rechange the way that that drainage flow was working, and the budgets didn't exist for that. And they also felt like because those streets are dead end, they dead end at the S line, that the waterway kind of did help with traffic calming. So, yeah. In terms of plan, I would say you probably want to look at Salt Lake Planning Division for the first question that you had. Go ahead.
On 20th East between Holly's Canyon Boulevard and 27 South was totally reconstructed about 4 years ago. And it was resurfaced last month, I assume to increase the longevity of the reconstruction. But last week, right after that, engineering signs on the roadway appeared like right before they dig it up. So they resurfaced it and they're gonna dig it up again?
So often when you see, we're going to call those blue stakes marks, that's when they come and mark all the utilities underground. So usually when they pave or resurface, they have to lower the utilities down, all the manholes, so that when they run the paver across, they don't hit metal, because it will interfere with the paving equipment or the asphalt removal equipment. So they pave right over those utilities, and then they come back and they cut them out, they raise them up, and then they put a concrete collar around them. So that could be what's happening. If you see like anything that doesn't look like that, use the app, because transportation plans our projects, engineering builds our major projects, and streets does our maintenance. And while we all talk to each other, we all have different sort of programs of work. Any other questions? Okay. Oh, sorry, Lyndon. Oh, hey.
Whoa, George. You don't hear that much.
Yeah, no.
East of Gilwood.
Oh, great.
It's magnificent.
I'm so glad.
All those 50, 60-year-old trees on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
They're level, it's brand new.
That's so great. I'm so glad to hear it. And the trees are still there.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. Bill, come on up. You coming up? And I just wanted to say, Grant and Sahara are here. They're our representatives. Phenomenal folks. You could clap for them. It's all right. You have 5 minutes.
It'll be less than that. Which gives me trouble. Look at how short this list is getting now. It's almost on 1 page. 2 more minutes. Okay. We have actually one project to talk about, and that is Monterre, formerly Altaterra, formerly. Anyway, so it's now the Monterre, and it's starting to be occupied this weekend. Far out on the south side, south building, and that is the affordable rents unit. And the north building is really starting to look, isn't it? And it will be actually ahead of schedule, ahead of the updated schedule. It's still half behind schedule. But we won't talk about that now. What these guys are doing is really working hard and working well with us, and keeping the roads clear and doing good things, trunking most of the time cleaned up. But anyway, they're going to be opening that early spring and not late spring. They said shortly after the first of the year. And so what I'm saying is there'll be a brief respite of like nothing going on for maybe a couple of months. And then you'll be back going nuts again. But anyway, am I good? Landon, here, come on, hurry. I'm done.
Chris, come on up. And then Hannah, and then we'll have Hannah.
All right. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Chris. I'm your Transportation Committee Chair. This I'll talk about in a second. I just have 2 requests. On 17th East, outside the high school, they're currently putting in a new crosswalk between the high school and the seminary. Don't drive like a dick when the workers are there. I saw some guy fly through there yesterday at full speed while the workmen were trying to paint the curb. It doesn't make anyone's life any better. The second request on 21st South, if you're going west, do not try and use the turn lane coming the uphill to turn into Chick-fil-A. I have seen 4 cars on the wrong side of the road trying to do that already because that curb was broken and they put a turn lane in. And the traffic going down the hill now tries to turn onto the wrong side of the road and drive into traffic and get into Chick-fil-A. Don't do it. Yeah. What Sarah said, if you keep doing that, they'll close that off completely. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, close it. So I try and run the Transportation Committee meeting on Zoom every month. The attendance has been varied. I'm not going to be doing it for 2 months. September and October, I actually won't be in the country. So next week will be the last one I'm going to do for a while. This is the sign-up form on the website. That's a direct link to the Zoom meeting for this Tuesday next week at 7 o'clock. My plan next week is to do an EV roundtable. If you have an EV, or if you're curious about EVs, or if you have questions about EVs, I have a little presentation I've put together to try and educate people about them, and then you can ask questions all you like. So that's what I had to say. Thank you.
All right, Hannah. Wow.
Hi, everyone. I'm Hannah Barton from the mayor's office. Stop, you guys. Stop it. Before I forget, Principal Thorne from Cosgriff reached out to me. You may have noticed they're doing a wee bit of a parking lot construction project. School starts for them on the 11th on Monday, and I have been told they won't be finished until the 22nd. If Leah has taught us anything, it's to anticipate slightly more than that, and then hopefully be pleasantly surprised if they do finish it on the 22nd. So that means there's probably going to be about 2 weeks of pickup time and drop off time that are a little bit chaotic. The principal has been very proactive and has put together a traffic plan for the parents. Now it's up to the parents to follow it, and hopefully they do. I'm also going to be dropping off some signs from the mayor's office saying drive slowly, school is in session. So if you live in that neighborhood, just be aware that it might be a little chaotic for 2 weeks, but hopefully it'll be okay. If you have any questions or like serious safety concerns, feel free to reach out to me and I can connect you with Principal Thorne, or I'm sure she's open to receive calls as well. I'll go ahead and get started. I know the whale isn't in Sugar House, even though Trader Joe's on 7th East thinks that the whale is a part of Sugar House. But it is a fun part of our city, and if you haven't heard, we are repainting the whale. That has been the plan from the beginning, that the design on the whale would change every 3 years or so, and the time has come. So there's a survey here if you're feeling particularly passionate about it. I know the whale upsets people and it excites people equally. There's a survey that you can take. In that same vein, if you do scan this, it'll take you to a survey on our new engagement platform called Shape SLC, which is very exciting. I know a lot of you are super engaged with the city and go back to scan. Go back to scan. Here we go. Here we go. I know a lot of you are super engaged with the city already, and you know that our website can be a little messy sometimes. There's a lot of different places where you can find information, and we're really trying to streamline that for you guys. So if you have a question about a project or maybe a survey that you took last year and then never heard anything more about ever again, this will be the centralized place for you to learn more. I'm going to take us there briefly if it will let me. Maybe just so we can get a sneak preview. This is rolling out slowly. So right now, I think there's only 3 projects on there, one of them being the whale. And I think there will be 2 new projects added this week. We're kind of building up to this rollout, and it will be fully online starting, I think, end of September, October. But this is what it looks like. You can make a little account. You can scroll down and see projects that are open for participation, and you can kind of see how much time there is for you to submit feedback. When you click on a project, it will give you a full background on the project. It'll show you where we are currently in the process. The survey is open, but then it'll also show you future steps so that you can kind of be aware of how long this is going to take, if you need to submit comments again, things like that. And maybe any like open houses in person where you could go talk to city staff about these projects. So I'm excited about it. I think it'll make my job a little bit easier, and I hope that it makes your experience easier when you're engaging with the city. But shape.slc.gov is where you want to go. Keep an eye on it. It'll continue to get more robust over the next couple of months. And now I will go back to my slides. Here we go. Okay. Sorry, this, how do I make this disappear? Sarah already said this, but the Allen Park water lines, that construction will be starting in the fall. This QR code will take you to that project page, which has not quite been moved over to Shape SLC yet, so it's still on the old website. But this is exciting for our tree health and fire safety issues. Anticipated that project will take 3 or 4 months, so hopefully it'll be done by the spring. I included the project manager's name and email, Amy Reed, if you have any questions or concerns for her as that project is underway. Next, a very fun update from UDOT about some construction on I-15. Again, not in Sugar House, but it definitely impacts all of us, particularly this spot where I-15 intersects with 17th South. They're going to be doing just some concrete work there, but it sounds like they will be closing down to 1 lane of traffic at night. So if you're on I-15 late at night, just be very aware. Also 215. West side of 215. Just for awareness, we've all been stuck on I-15 and been really mad that we didn't get off at the earlier exit, so just thought you guys might want to know. There's a hotline and a website if anyone wants to take a picture of that. And that's all I have. Any questions for me? I'll leave this up if anyone wants it. No questions.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything? Do you have anything? Hey, thanks to Derek for hosting us during the class season. Thank you for the neighborhood hive. Anything else? Is that good? All right. Meeting adjourned. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much. You know, even under like angry people, what's still.
Well, I think the angrier realize that there's people on their side and it's already tried. As long as somebody tried it, you know? And if these youngins have some miracle money for someone.
They ought
Thanks, William.
Yes, no problem. Yay!